So front rack squats are something that a lot of people struggle with based on your current mobility or injury history or what have you. They require quite a bit from our upper body. Back squats do as well, but today we're going to talk about front squats. So for a front squat, you are actually going to need quite a bit of finger extension, wrist extension, forearm pronation, elbow flexion, shoulder external rotation, which can be limited quite a bit by our lats, and thoracic extension to hold ourselves up. If you are limited in any one or many of those things, front rack position is going to be hard for you. It's important to take note of those things, maybe get assessed, maybe work on those on the side and address them so that you can get into a better front rack position, but it doesn't mean you can't train a front rack squat. It just means that you might have to modify what you're doing and how you're doing it. So there's a couple different ways that you can modify or approach the squat a little bit differently so that it's a more comfortable position for you. One of my favorite ways of working, mainly because my wrists are a little bit limited, is just using a wrist strap. So these are not fancy, they're just regular wrist straps. You just grab it, you loop it around, put this through the loop, feed it through, and then you make sure that these are really tight, pushing that loop into the barbell so that you don't have it too loose so that it's not spinning around when you have it in the front rack position. You're gonna grab the loops, you're gonna wrap your wrists around, so you wanna be really close, like you almost can't get your wrists all the way around, so it's really tight. Again, you don't want the barbell rolling in these wrist wraps. Then find a narrow position just inside your shoulders usually. Come up to the front rack position, lock the elbows, and now you have a more comfortable position for your wrists because they are allowed to be in neutral. If you still have other limitations, this might still be hard, so we can talk about a couple different other variations for you to do. If you don't have wrist straps yet or don't want to have to purchase those, let's go through one of the things that you can do really simply to take your wrists out of the equation just a little bit. The first thing you can do is not have all of your fingers in the front rack position. For a lot of people, this is a lot on our wrist and fingers in extension. We just don't quite have it. So instead of having all of your fingers up here, which kind of puts you forward and tips you forward, let's just let one or two fingers be up here instead. That might let you achieve a higher elbow position rather than having your elbows pointed down, which is going to lead you to go down when you're squatting, and we want to keep the elbows high. So use just one or two fingers if you don't have wrist straps. If you're still really limited, you likely still have some shoulder and upper back limitations. If that's you, also totally fine. The other way you can alter a front rack squat is by doing a cross arm position for the front rack position here. So what you're going to do is place the barbell on your collarbones where it sits. You're gonna cross your arms here and then kind of let it rest on your shoulders. From here, you're gonna come up into that front rack position, and then you would step back into your squat, and you're going to perform your squat just like a regular position, but now your arms are just resting. You wanna make sure that you're not rounded forward. If you feel that you are still having a really hard time holding yourself up because you're rounded forward so much, then likely you want to go down to a goblet squat with a heavy dumbbell, or just substitute for a barbell back squat if that feels more comfortable.